So we are learning from the text by one great master, Sadhana Panchkam. But before that, we should remember Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karva Vahi Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvisha Vahi. The last line of the phrase that we should not have an envy or a jealousy against each other at this time to see whether the knowledge is received by the mind in the right state. We should have, we should live with awareness and attention, especially while listening to these principles. So it is applicable to both the teacher and the seeker. Sahanau bhunaktu, sahanau bhunaktu. So we should have tremendous vitality and energy to follow this journey. Otherwise, it will be a challenge. Let us understand this with reference to four categories of the people. First category, the topmost category, knows what it knows. The way I know the car, the way I know my real self. Only difference, it is subjective reality. And there is an objective reality. I know house, I know where I'm living, I know the body, I know the mind, the same way I know the real self. In the body and the mind. What is the difference? I know the car, it is objective reality. So our master says, it is not the car, it is in the car. It is not the body, it is in the body. It is not the breath, it is in the breath. That consciousness is all pervading. We have a cognition, we have that cognitive ability. So these principles helps us to reach to that state of cognition. Now it's not CBT, Christina. It's not cognitive behavior therapy. It is much more than. So that is the first category. What should be the second category of the? You don't know. You have an inner motivation, inspiration, focus that I don't know, I want to know. And I'm ready to do whatever it takes. You are a seeker. You are a seeker. Third category. You have an idea, you have heard from someone, you have an idea, and still you are seeking the world for pleasure. So your mind is not able to think. The cycle of the pain and the pleasure continues. Are you understanding? Third category. One guy told me, I have been doing the practices. I have been attending your session for the last 2 years and there is no change. This belongs to the third category. After listening, attending the session, my mind goes back to seek the pleasures from the world. I never contemplate and reflect if the pleasure really exists in the world outside, and it rebounds. It gives me a lot of challenges. I did the practice, I feel very calm and relaxed. Now I have a party to attend, so I am attending the party. Mind is seeking an appreciation. Look at the way, I have prepared myself. Nobody. So I return home and then I send an email to the teacher, I'm totally frustrated. That belongs to the third category. Are you understanding? So, no, we are talking about this mind. And what about the fourth category? At least you think. So, when you think that I did not get an appreciation, so the journey can continue. And you are attached to the teacher, so the teacher makes you aware. Oh, were you expecting something from that party? Were you expecting the appreciation? Oh, yes. Nobody appreciated me. I had the new clothes and I just uh, made my hairs dressed. I spent $100 on that and nobody appreciated. And then you're frustrated. And then you ask the question. Obviously, you are still a seeker, but seeker at a very primary level. What is the fourth category? Bring the dog in the session. The dog will just notice my movement, or sometime it will lick you. It is programmed by the nature. We are going deeper. Thank you for continuing this journey. So you have to apply this journey. So the fourth category is programmed by the nature. So there, the way the dog and the animals and the plants, we say the living beings, do they ask, is there a God? Is there a consciousness? So the mind lives in all these four states, and that defines the categories of the people. I'm making the things very simple and easy. Before we start with the 40 steps. Maybe I have covered a couple of steps in these sessions. Now find out what is common in all the four categories: the physical survival, food, sleep, safety. They are common. So if we think after awakening, I will not eat anything, I will not sleep, then you are crazy, you are not a seeker. What is constantly changing, it has to continue. Internally, you are awakened. Huh? Just giving it. So no problem to seek food, house, safety, sleep. So what a seeker does, the seeker regulates it. Seeker organizes it. Seeker disciplines it. That is. And then what is the difference? It is in the mind and the intellect. Should I make a statement? Remember this. Mind is the worst master, and mind is the best slave. Did you understand? Mind is the best slave. Who makes the best slave? Intellect. What does intellect does? The knowledge. What is that knowledge? Is the consciousness. It is the awareness. That is what our masters have been talking about. So, with that reference, when the mind is the worst slave, mind is the worst master. You wake up in the morning and the mind says, I'm struggling, I have a lot of challenges. Why you have a lot of challenges? What happened yesterday in the party? Nobody respects me, nobody cares me, I'm totally frustrated, I'm alone. So I have a sense, you see, the mind has become the master. Look at it. I didn't apply the intellect. I didn't apply it. Terry, I'm talking about what you have written in a different way. You gives me the ideas. What did you understand this point very clearly? That the mind is the worst master. It says you are into anxiety. I don't bring the intellect. Oh, let me see, where is the anxiety? Why? Where is the anxiety? Where? Where? Reaction. Oh, mind, you're reacting. Intellect says, okay, should I react or respond? You are into the second category of a seeker. Third category goes in and out. Fourth category doesn't know, does not want to think, because I'm totally programmed by the nature and the past impression. Past impressions. Four categories. Think. Think in that way. So these four categories, I have not to fall down into the last two categories at any point of time. And that is the reason I have to apply these principles in my daily life, in my personal, in my professional, in my social life, wherever I wake up in the morning. For example, take an example, very practical example. You wake up in the morning, mind is the worst master, I told you. Mind says, I'm feeling lazy, and you send an email. So today I have a headache, so I cannot attend this session. Mind is the worst master. Intellect says, because you are feeling the headache, hence I will attend this session. That is what Terry wrote. Anyhow, I will attend this session. See that? See. So, first thought. So, what happens with the purity of the mind? Every day you wake up in the morning and the intellect reminds you that I am the real self. I 100% know that why to end the suffering. Even though I experience the body mind complex, I have to find out what is the real self. You see, stepwise, your intellect is now working. Second, the intellect says, let me recall the principle, let knowledge enter into the mind. Mind, why you are saying that you are lazy? What is the time? 6 a.m. How many hours you slept? 8 hours. Oh, still you feel lazy? What happened to you? So if I don't question, the dogs and animals do not question. I belong to the third and the fourth category. Fourth category. I question why you are becoming my master. It is an inner journey. I'm asking myself, asking yourself that you are living into an awareness. Living into awareness means that the way animals are programmed by the nature, they don't think. So when I stop thinking, then my laziness will increase. Do you see that? I have a pain, so pain will increase. So that increasing area is the field of suffering. So once you remind and recall every day in the morning, now your intellect motivates the mind. Oh, let me do the practice. So you, because you have contemplated and reflected. Another next step. Now the next step, you experience the change now. 6 a.m. you woke up and you had a laziness, you feel the headache, you did the practice and it is gone. So I have to gain that experience every day. Why? To keep the mind pure, to reach to that highest state of awareness. Is that making a sense to you? Are you thinking in that way? So then what happens? You experience and you see there is a change. There is a change. You cannot make out sometimes. It's a body. Sometimes I also have a headache. It may be many other reasons. But then my intellect says, why shouldn't I continue the journey? And in that, headache also dissolves. Mind is the worst master. Why mind is the worst master? It has two elements. It says, oh, I will program your life by nature, unconsciously, habitually, impulsively. And second says, because of the past impressions. Did you see that last year you have a headache and you could not talk? So today also you cannot talk. We relate with those past negative impressions. That is, in medical science, we say a chronic anxiety and a chronic depression. We understand all those things. We did not move to that area of objectively finding the symptoms of a disease, but we know it. Our goal is to find the real self. So you have an experience, and now that experience creates an impression. So every time mind wants to become the worst master, you take you take over the mind by the intellect, by reminding the principles, by doing the practice. Now, what happened? You have increased the positive impressions to counter the negative past impressions. Does that make sense? Pressure of the negative impressions and the pressure of the positive impressions. At present, it is low. By continuously reminding yourself, doing the practice, contemplation, and reflection, they come at par. Now this is going up. This is going up. So now this has gone up and you have a pain. It says, okay, pain it is in the body. Let me take care. Let me continue my journey. Pressure and the resources. So I have to increase the resources. That is what we want to do when I'm a higher seeker. When I have to live with these resources all the time in my personal life, in my professional life, social life, family life. Pressure is more, past impression. Mind is the worst master now. So you wake up in the morning, you have a laziness, then you have a headache, then your mind talks about how no, she or he does not understand. You see, chain reaction. Chain reaction of personality, behavior, and attitude starts. It is everyone's experience. I need not to deliberate too much on that. See that. This is what happens to our life. And because now this continuously pouring those impressions, and then what happens? The intellect is here. Intellect also says, yes, you are right. Intellect says to the master is the mind. Mind, oh, intellect says you are right. You know then what happens? Can you imagine? Can you think? How many times your intellect wanted to prove that the other guy is wrong? It comes from the past impression. It has taken over the intellect. Now the intellect speaks the tune of the mind. Are you getting it? Intellect has lost the power of discernment and dispassion. That is why we say the journey of the Eastern wisdom is done through the discernment. What I have to do? You are the worst. Okay, you are the best. What I have to do? Let me bring my mind back. Intellect says, mind, you go inside. And then I analyze that if I say you are the crazy, you are the worst, then what happens to my mind? I create another set of impression. Oh, I had need not to do anything. Let me enjoy my state without saying anything. You are purifying the mind. So entire process of purification has to be done through the contemplation and reflection. That is the highest method of purification of the mind. Or in a simple way, mind is the worst master. And if it is the worst master, I feel the anxious, I feel the reaction, I feel the pressure, I feel, oh, go ahead. Millions of impressions puts you down. Christina knows we have two kinds of pills in psychology, put me up and put me down. In depression, you have a hyperactivity. So the pills are given to you, they put you down. Understand that. Mind is the worst master. And mind is the best slave. Don't you say to the dog, sit down? Tell your mind, sit down. We all have experiences with the pets. Sit down, mind, don't go to the body. Don't give me an experience that, my body is not working. Harry, sit down. I am of the nature of consciousness. You see, that is the journey of a higher seeker. And I can bet you that you will feel better. Just giving you those. So that is basically the first step. But I'm just, we have yet to start the first step. I will tell you what it means and how it works. Without, so you see that is the way the journey has to be undertaken. Now the intellect has taken over, the intellect has become the master, the mind is the slave. Slave means what? What intellect says, mind does. See that? So that is why I have been talking. Are you applying these principles? Did you listen to it? Did you contemplate and reflect? Did you do the practice? Did you apply these principles? If you don't apply these principles, you do not contemplate. The same thing happened with that woman who went to the party and says that nobody appreciated me. I said, did I teach you that in Eastern wisdom there is a principle that when you decorate yourself and then you go to the party, everyone should appreciate, then only you are on the path of self-discovery? Did I tell you this? I told you that find out 2 or 3 more good points of everyone you know, you appreciate. You ask, you let them allow to speak. Instead, you speak about yourself. When you start speaking about yourself, you have an idea of a selfishness, the mind has taken over. Mind is now becoming the master. You are bound to have anxiety, duality. She said, now I have understood. For the last 2 years, you have understood. But it happens. You belong to the third category of a seeker. So now you can easily compare that whether we can make the progress, why we go back. That is the reason we have to. This master is unique. Just one more point that second thing, knowledge has to be attained in steps. They are progressive in nature. That is one principle. But on Saturday's session, knowledge is not in progressive nature. It is here and now. So we have two different paths. So here we have to follow all the 40 steps. Why? Because we have reached to that highest level of a seeker. So that is why I'm doing both the sessions simultaneously, so that you can contemplate and reflect what happens on Saturday's session and what happens on Mondays and Thursday's sessions. So don't feel that I'm opposing. No, they are in contrast. They both are right. You're the highest level of a seeker. Ah, you need not to do any practice, a non-practice. You are not. You are progressing. So we say that the knowledge is progressive. Understand that clearly. So because it is progressive, I have to follow one ladder, second ladder, third ladder, fourth. But in that process, who knows, your past good impressions will dominate very fast and you jump into the Saturday session. But first thing first, I have to recognize mind is the worst master and it is the best slave. So how it is progressive? See that. Am I a human being? Yes, I'm a human being because I walk on two legs. No, I'm a human being because I think about who am I. Dog does not think about who am I. So you have to redirect your awareness. Monkeys also start walking on the two feet. I ask as a human being, is there a supreme truth? No, animals and plants, they don't ask. That difference has to be understood. We are not bringing the animal kingdom and the plant kingdom down. So you see that I am a human being in what reference to? Reference to the body, no reference to the mind. Oh, then I recognize that the mind follows the nature, impulsive mind. That is why it is impulsive mind. Mind follows my past impressions. They mix up and create a lot of confusion. See that? They create a lot of confusion. So this is progressive in nature. So the intellect says, let us leave what is happening in the mind. Let me rise in awareness. See what happens. And the moment you rise in awareness, you leave identification with the body, you are relaxed and calm. That is what happens unconsciously in deep sleep, that we want to realize consciously in a waking state. So from there, another principle has come. I cannot see through my senses and the mind neither the absolute truth nor the untruth. I only see what is false. And what is false, it lies in between the absolute truth and the untruth. You see, lot of subtle principles, step by step, and then now the intellect becomes clear. Why you say that we are always, our perception through the sense organ and the mind is always the false? What is the meaning definition of the false? It is constantly changing, it is created, it takes birth and dies. So my sense organs are limited, mind is limited, it cannot see the absolute truth. And question of seeing the untruth does not exist because untruth means non-existent. So that false lies in between the truth and the untruth. So I have to recognize, live into that awareness. Intellect has to be the master. Intellect, knowledge, awareness. So with that reference, with that, now you have a broader picture. Now, in that broader picture, the master says, I have written this picture. It's a complete message from more than 3,000 texts. He explained what is awakening, he explained what is realization, he explained the different stages of meditation, he explained what happens. If you sit down and practice meditation every day and you don't apply in your personal life through your action, behavior, your behavior and attitude will not change. And behavior and attitude will not change. Mind will continue to haunt you. You will continue to live in that ignorance, and it will not help. Some people think that let me go for a retreat. I will not use my phone. I will eat only vegan. So you are holding back. The moment you return home, you start doing the same thing again. Do you see that? So master hammers. It's a complete package, teaching and understanding. And then it has a unique feature. It gives the instruction only. So what I'm explaining, principles behind these set of instructions. It's a direct instruction. First instruction, it says study daily. Now I have to understand what does it mean by study daily. So that study means not only listening and learning, contemplation and reflection, but also the practice. And let me see my previous lesson and this lesson. Is there a movement at the higher level or not? And that is how I give the lessons. Every lesson is a step higher. So I have to compare, I have to sit down. That is the meaning of study daily. Another instructions that I told you that it covers people of all ages, irrespective of age, profession. Even the 5 years old can do the practice. The first is study daily. That is the beauty of this. So it's a simplicity and directness. But before you have all these sessions, you recognize that these are the basics on which these 40 steps are founded. And don't forget these 40 steps, but also these principles, and you will see the life is going to transform. So today is the best summary of the lessons. Or you have to invite all those subtle principles which declares mind is the worst master and it is the best slave. I have to drive. Where is the key? Oh, I've kept the key. So you see, mind is the slave. Key. Sit down. Mind, belt, start, reverse, open the garage. You see, mind is the slave. You don't have any problem. You see, you don't have any. Uh, for example, and you take an example. Oh, Christina, mind says, "Ah, I don't like." Now you see the first thought. First thought gives you chain reaction. And she is in front of me. Mind is already in anxiety, what to say, what not to say. Mind is now the master. Intellect comes up. What I've mind, why you are running after likes and dislikes? After all, she is also a human being. You ease down. You see, the anxiety in the mind you have eased down. And you continue through your intellect, through your contemplation and reflection until the mind realizes what the mind realizes. I have not to run after the likes and dislikes, pain and the pleasure, duality and a conflict. No opposing tendencies should live in my mind. Everyone is the best. Where is your anxiety? It is gone. Mind is the master. You have taken the key, you are setting into the car, you have started, you are reversing, but you forgot to open up the garage door. Do you see that? That is the beauty. I'm just helping you to apply that in daily life. Oh, you hesitated inside. Hey, son, you don't understand. You calm down. Intellect says to the mind, calm down. You don't understand. You're trying to make other understand by an anger and hesitation. Are you getting it? That kind of an awareness should enter into our life. Whether you say intellect or whether you say awareness or whether you say mind is the worst master, I have not to follow. Life will change. It has to change. You will start living in a higher awareness. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed. And you have place, position, and posture. You're already comfortable. You have accepted all these teachings from this master. You're comfortable and carefree. You're comfortable and carefree. Yes, become aware of the first neighbor. Do you remember? Outermost first neighbor is the world outside, world of time, space, and object. Second neighbor is the body. You're just aware of the second neighbor. And you have to explain to the mind what it means by the neighbor. Neighbor is not you. Third neighbor, the energy body. Fourth neighbor is the mind, impulsive nature, and program. Nature's programming exists here because of our survival at the time of the birth. And now it is taken over by the past impression. Fifth neighbor, the intellect and the I-ness, and sixth neighbor is the ignorance or the causal body. What is after that? Real self. Let the intellect think first, then you contemplate, then you reflect, and then you become aware. So I'm making very organized and simple. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. Sarvesham swastir bhavatu. How many times I have repeated? May there be happiness for all. Who says? The intellect. To whom? To my mind. I am not blessing anyone. Don't create unnecessary ego. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. May there be peace for all. Intellect is saying to the mind that you have a different opinion, understanding, attitude towards this situation, this people, this relationship. Mind, stop this nonsense. Why? May there be peace for all. Will it change your behavior and attitude? Answer is yes. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness in all. Mind, why are you going to a party to seek the recognition when you are complete in yourself? Don't you recognize that you are the real self of the nature of peace, happiness, love, truth, and wisdom? I can bet you go into the party and let your intellect repeat this thought couple few times. And even if no one appreciates you, no one recognizes you, are happy. Instant change from the chronic, so-called the chronic conditions. I'm not challenging the numerical science. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Mangalam. May there be auspiciousness for all. You have a right to exist. I have a right to exist. By liking and disliking, by hatred and the reaction and anxiety with reference to any situation, any person, I am challenging why he or she exists. So I drop that existence and I enter into the auspiciousness. First stage of the practice is over. It's a passive state. It is always good to do the first step couple of times during the day. And maybe one or two times you do the practice, the entire practice. So now we say the stage two is active. You're looking inside the forehead in the space. You're dropping Om Shanti. Check. Mind is dropping the Om Shanti in a hurry or in a politely or in a gentle manner. Don't check that. Mind is trying to become a master. No. Do it, say it gently. Oh, yes. Intellect says to the mind, check body is stillness. Yes. Now you have to breathe quick and fast into the long and the fast into the belly. Are you okay? Yes. Start breathing into the belly, long and the fast breathing. Continue with the Om Shanti and continue with the stillness in the body. Continue with the long breathing into the belly. And your intellect says, do you know that when you inhale, the belly should go outside? When you exhale, the belly should go inside. Oh, yes, I forgot that. Remind yourself. Do you find mind is having a resistance? Why it is having a resistance? Because it has picked up some past impression. Resistance is met with an endurance in the intellect. I believe you are now understanding each and every step. Belly breathing. I don't want to go into that. Belly breathing is what we modern science says diaphragmatic breathing. It is considered the normal breathing pattern. So the intellect, in the field of intellect, is simply awareness. That awareness is the knowledge. It is aware of the Om Shanti, it is aware of the stillness in the body, it is aware of the belly breathing, it is aware of the expansion of the belly in during inhalation, contraction during exhalation. It is aware of the resistance, and you meet the resistance with an endurance. Continue reading mantra, stillness in the body, endurance meeting the resistance. Now leave it. Just check how the breath returns to its normal breathing pattern. You're aware of the flow of the breath. Just a flow of the breath. With that awareness of the flow of the breath, there is a natural awareness. The mind turns inside. It keeps looking inside. It is not looking anything outside. The time will come, or it is possible now also become aware of the movement of the belly. The normal breathing pattern is always through the belly. There may be a little bit of movement into the rib cage also. That is what, the Buddha said, the sensation in the body and awareness of the breath. And then you're aware, continue with the awareness of the flow of the breath at the same time. You're also experiencing sensation, relaxation, and stillness on the skin of the body, and you look inside the body, so called inside the body. Means it's a rise in awareness. So, just to metaphorically, we say, and it makes sense, look inside the body, find out any sensation you experience. It may be pulsation, any other sensation inside the body. It means the mind is now living within, and that living within is the state of the calmness. And at the same time, you experience the infinite space or blankness. That is the state of the quietness. So, if I'm aware of that space within, you will find or you have experienced that these thoughts are too far from you. What are those thoughts of the past? Impression, reaction, likes and dislikes, and everything is there, but they are too far to disturb you. In calmness, they are near, but still you are able to maintain the calmness. In the state of relaxation, in the stillness, they are very near to you. Sometimes it disturbs your stillness, disturbs your relaxation. So it's alternate. That is how we have to live into that awareness, which will take you much deeper. Very good. So now look at the breath and start breathing deep, silent and slow. It is the last step of a second stage, semi-active step. So you make it sure that first you inhale into the belly, then into the rib cage. It is only one breath, and you exhale from the belly and from the rib cage. You are regulating. Why you are regulating the breath? Otherwise, the mind will take over. Mind is the worst master. Oh, yeah, that is the reason. No, I will not allow any breath to move unconsciously, impulsively, and habitually. So, yes, are you ready? Yes. So, the moment the breath goes in, now we change the direction of the mind. Do you see that? So, the moment you start inhaling, move the mind from the top center of the head into the spine, reaching to the tailbone. The mind still thinks. We say, okay, think of Om Shanti, reaches to the tailbone. During exhalation, the mind rises with Om Shanti, reaches to the top center of the head. So you are still breathing deep, silent, and slow. Body is also still. Now you see distinctly, if I say, you are taking over the mind in Nyasa. Can it help in purification? Yes. Can it help in making the mind slave? Yes. I gave you a very clear example. It is the intellect who says, put the card into the key, start it, look back. Oh, whereas this door is closed, let me open it. It is the intellect who says. And the mind get obsessed. I'm in a hurry. Let me start a car in reverse. You see the progressive steps of knowledge? I'm trying to make the subjective science very much objective. What's going to happen in the Nyasa? One guy who has been with me for many years, now he has checked it and he says that I have 4 breaths in a minute while saying Om Shanti during inhalation and exhalation. It means 15 seconds for one inhalation and exhalation. Don't make an effort. It should happen. And it happens. Also, am I doing the pranayama even in nyasa? Yes. These are the higher practices of pranayama. Now leave this in the stage 3, 16 segments of your fingers. You drop Om Shanti while keeping all the sense organs inside the mind. You see, that is There you are making the mind slave. Otherwise, the mind always wants to jump through all these senses. It goes outside. We say, hold on, live within. I'm not touching physically. Can you touch? Can you see? Can you do the sound Om Shanti mentally? Everything is mental. It means withdrawal of the senses, not only the pratyahara. Without complete pratyahara, mind cannot live in the objectless state, which we refer to as the meditative state. In other words, we say it is self absorption. Now look inside the cave of your heart, triangle, visualize, moving the mind on the each side of a triangle, clockwise and anti-clockwise, couple of times. In the background, you check there is a sink, and now it is sinking easily because the mind is already withdrawn inside. And that is the point where you push the mind deep inside, singing deep inside the key of your heart with singing. Mind seemingly stops. Why it stops? Objectless state. Shanti, and then you do nothing. Well, you're absorbed, you're doing nothing. But even if the mind tries to take over you, and you see, now I'm speaking this language. So you know what needs to be done. When you do the practice on your own and you reach to this point, so it is always good, even if the audio stops, you continue to remain absorbed, maybe for another 15 minutes or half an hour more and see what happens. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Don't you feel that, oh, mind wants to continue? Why it wants to continue? It under the instruction of the intellect. Intellect has realized it is a point of self-absorption. Do you see a perfect example? Mind is the worst and mind is the best. Bring your awareness on the right hand, your awareness on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. Have a time for contemplation and reflection. How are you, Dennis?
Thank you for the session. Meditation was very seamless and deep. After the fast breathing part, the attention was naturally on the breath, and then when we were moving the mind on the spine, there was a very pleasant sensation, and then after that, at the final stage, there was a very deep absorption, and the mind definitely wanted to remain in that state for a longer period.
Beautiful. You explained it beautifully. You had a wonderful experience. And one is very beautiful that you start feeling the sensation. It is the mind and the prana. So now we can make it sure. Ah, mind is now you are the slave. Where the mind goes, there the prana goes. That is one of the finest principles of Hatha Yoga and Tantra Yoga. Beautiful. How are you, David and Jerry?
Sir, thank you. I am good. I really enjoyed that lesson. The worst mind, the best slave. Really resonated well with me. I enjoyed that. So my meditation consequently was, a little bit of debating with the slave, but by the end of it, the slave understood who was in charge and went very deep. So thank you.
Very beautiful. Not only during the practice of meditation, the moment you are in anxiety, you have reaction. Sometimes it happens because of the past effort. It happens to me also. Sometimes I blast to someone. But later on, I realize and I say, mind, what you have done, how to correct this. Mind, you need not to be a master. So I remind myself. So, so I have to apply this in our daily life. How are you, Jerry?
All right, good. Thank you. I as well like the mind and the master. I feel like it ties right into our mantra, and
Yeah.
that when we're inspired and we really know, we can check the mind, because the mind instantly thinks that I'm happy, I'm at peace, I'm complete, and then it knows how to deal with the changing world.
Yeah.
But if at all it says, I want to be stronger, I want to look different, I want to be appreciated, then we know that, wait a minute, mind, that's
Wait,
not what it's about.
yes, way to mind, way to mind. I believe that it's one of the perfect examples that you sit in a car lying in the garage and the mind says, oh, I'm in a hurry. And you forgot to open the garage door. That is what the seeking of the mind is. It clearly depicts your mind. How are you, Christina? Beautiful, Jerry.
Thank you for the lesson and practice. Between the dog metaphor and mind is the worst master, it made me think that because for me, that my mind doesn't have a form, but if I can see it in a form like my dog,
Yes, yes, yes,
kids, that I can have more control to say, stop it.
yes, yes. That is what I tried in every lesson because it's a subjective reality. How to bring it to the objective reality, because objective reality can easily be understood by the mind. That is why I gave these examples. So even our text is full of these examples. Yeah, yeah, the dog metaphor. Dog is always either it wants to lick or it says, come on, come on. There is nothing, no bite is there, but the mind understands it is there. There's something, I should have it. Why I said so? Can you imagine? Hey, how are you, Dennis? Example, how are you, Dennis? And my mind says, okay, now Dennis will appreciate me. You see that? Mine is already outside. I can give you many examples. How are you, Barbara?
I'm very good, thank you. I had a meditation, and I really wanted to stay in that state for a much longer time. I do have a
Beautiful.
question though, and that is that if everything, and I do believe it, everything we see through our senses is false, and our intellect can also be somewhat flawed. How do we make correct decisions?
Intellect, power of discernment and dispassion. So power of discernment, what it says, it filters out what is false and what exactly is the real. Yes, I can understand your question in a different way, but I don't know what is real. No worries. You have dropped what is false and then you take the right decision. And that is how we move and approach near to the real self. My mind is reactive, but let the Barbara come and I will. Now I use the power of discernment here. Mind, you want to be a master? No, I won't let you be the master. Calm down. You have nothing to do here. Now what happened? Not only I calmed down, but I did not create any situation. That is a testimony. So in the journey, first I filter out by recognizing what is false, and then whatever is left is the truth. Millions of waves in an ocean. Fog is there. Tide is there. Let the wave calm down. What is left? Water. So the mind will naturally recognize what is real once the false is filtered out. That real is not going anywhere. It's not going anywhere. Real means real. It is all pervading. Are you ever?
Thank you, sir. The mind was calm. Uh, it's like it getting the idea that mind is a worse master because it works with the memories and it is impulsive.
Yeah.
So it will want to work in many directions at once, and that's causes anxiety and pain. So, like with intellect, it first calms down the mind and then it works. So that's how it's like mind is a good slave.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, you're right. Yeah. The moment you start using the intellect, mind, what are you doing? Let me see. Just ask the question. Where? Inside you. So it begins the journey. And you minimize that impact of anxiety and the reaction also. And you repeat it continuously until that anxiety drops down. Good point you mentioned. How are you, Terry? Did I clear all the doubts, the email that you sent to me? It's an internet connection. Are you listening to me, Terry? You don't want to say anything, just calm down. We'll talk next time. You can share your. Yeah, some internet connection problem. How are you, Sangeeta?
Self-practice.
Yeah, some internet connection. So why should I be into anxiety? Internet should be into anxiety. Do you see the point here? Same thing, you can add the assembly with garage door and with the dog. Why? Who asked this question? Why? Intellect. That is how we empty the mind. That is where I did not talk about the best method for purification of the mind is the self-inquiry. In Dennis, who is translating another group session, where we are still following the conventional method. That is all for today. Thank you very much. We will meet again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank
Thank
you.
Namaste.
Thank